you're not going to see much room for hope here, but there is one tiny possibility left. Let's listen to what a disaster we're in right now. And people say, oh, the climate just does this, does that. No, it does not. I know exactly why it's happening. I know why there's so much turmoil and turbulence, tornadoes and hurricanes and compressed water crushing here and there and having floods, and other places absolutely nothing. The weather patterns are shifting because of the expansion of our atmosphere, not because of carbon. It's because of turning solids into gases. We've blown up our balloon so huge, and the scrub is so intense now that the only way we can do it is to remove all of the burning we've been doing. The only way to do that is through free energy, and the only way to do that is through something like this, and I've shown it. I'm not coming here just bitching and moaning. I'm coming with answers. And I'm coming with proof and evidence, not just theories. Before this starts, I just want to know, I just ran and grabbed the camera when I saw this was showing how bad things really are getting, and I mean it's getting bad.
Land once lush and productive is drying up. In the delta of Italy's once mighty River Po, drought has struck.
70% andato.
70% of the crop is gone, Frederica Vitali tells me. If it doesn't rain, you can see the plants are burning up.
Abbiamo bisogno di una pioggia.
But this year the rains didn't come. It's Italy's worst drought in 70 years. Her soya crop is all but gone. The drought has impacted a third of Italy's agriculture. It didn't rain much during the winter or the spring. Plus, Italy is going through an unprecedented heat wave. Those combined to create the perfect storm for Italian agriculture. 5 major food-producing Italian regions have declared a drought emergency. 3 generations of Antonio Bezzi's family have cultivated rice.
Non abbiamo mai visto una situazione siccitosa di queste dimensioni.
We've never seen a drought like this, he says.
Delle siccità nel 2003.
Climate change here isn't a myth, it's reality.
In
the last 10 years, Antonio says, the area planted with rice has gone down almost 50% as a result of drought.
Anche di queste siccità.
Close to the sea, there is water everywhere.
Listen to this. This is critical. The flow out is not enough, and all those salt waters are coming back in, destroying all the inland waterways.
But not a drop to drink. In normal times, this is where the salt water reached in this river, about 3 miles from the Adriatic. But now, because of the drought, because of the low level of fresh water in the River Po, the salt water reaches about 18 miles inland, and that is having a disastrous effect on crops.
È uno strumento che misura la salinità dell'acqua.
Rodolfo Laurenti works for the local water authority, which closely monitors the flow and salinity of water in the Po Delta.
Quando è stato il momento proprio di crisi acclamata è il 2022.
The moment of real climate crisis, he says, is 2022.
Sì.
To ensure adequate drinking water, one local authority has resorted to renting expensive mobile desalination plants. Climate change means we have to be ready for emergencies like this, says Director Monica Monte. Elsewhere, the little fresh river water still available is used to save at least a portion of the rice crop. The climate scientist Ramona Magno warns it's too little and
it's too late. What we can do now is try to reduce losses.
The only thing we can do now is to reduce the expansion of the gases, and the only way to do that is through free energy, and I have already shown that it is, I believe it's possible. Within 90 days we could know, and within 90 days we could actually have this being used if it is possible. Within 30 days we'll know if it's possible or not, if it's just a joke. But I'm going to tell you right now, I say it's possible because the increase in energy through this Venturi is exponential. I have shown this over and over, again, totally disregarded by the people we trusted to help us. Now, this is 7 years ago. All my research goes back, and this too, 7 years ago. We were accelerating light and creating extensive amounts of energy which do not pollute whatsoever, and it's free energy. All right, once again, I'm not here just complaining. I'm here saying we have to do something. And I mean like today. And I don't know if even today is going to help, but we got to try. Laser light accelerates. We made it accelerate using a Venturi. The Venturi is here. This created the muon and electron neutrinos, which is these particles right here. The black one is the muon, the white one is the electron neutrino. Exactly what Fermilab said. There it is right there, the black one, the glowing one, which is the glowing one. Back to back, they make photons. Photons are light. We're not working with protons like they do, just slamming things together by accident and just looking through debris. We're actually squirting these particles, which they want to see, the muons and electron neutrinos, and we have crushed them and made them separate into sterile muons, which means they're all by themselves, sterile, and these are the electron showers. This is precisely identical to what CERN wants to see. Immediately afterwards, they recombine. This is fission, this is fusion. This is a subatomic nuclear reaction. Subatomic. Normally, atomic nuclear reactions, they're breaking apart huge chunks of matter. We're breaking apart light. And here's what we started with right there. There's exactly what we started with. We broke the white from the black. And the way we did it was through a tiny little Venturi that Rod Warren discovered totally by accident, crushing the fields together through a tiny little Venturi. And what happened, it was that particular slot dimension and architecture forced the black not to go through. So what did we have? We have exponential amounts of energy here because we did what CERN wants to do, is to divide these. We did it. And we can do it in a controlled manner all day long, and you could carry this around in a lunchbox and have all the energy you would ever need. Right off the grid, no problems. And if we don't do this within, I mean, I got to be honest with you, I'm not real optimistic about any chances whatsoever anymore. But if we'd have started 7 years ago when I started complaining about it, or somebody even looked into it, this is what annoys me. Every single thing that I have discovered, and there have been, these are complete life changers, has been refused to be examined by the ones that we trusted to be our teachers. Very, very disturbing. All right, so this goes back to 2015. Now, obviously, this is after a few years of research. You don't just come to these conclusions in 15 minutes. And I show all my research, including Mars, and that's probably what got me thrown off of everything. Everything got destroyed after I did this video. And I'm trying to save the Earth. Listen to this. As a result of that, I started to investigate how the Earth is creating these things and what these things are and so forth. And what you see here are blue holes. And these blue holes are all over the Earth. And those holes I've come to find out, and I have the supporting evidence, and I'm sure it's correct. I'd certainly like to have it looked at. It could be wrong, but I'd like to see somebody come up with a contradictory factual disagreement. And if it is right, it becomes critically important. Now, these holes, I believe, are the digesters for the Earth. Those are. All right, I'm not going to have you have to watch this whole thing, but I go through and I show these holes as the water flows through them. It actually digests the things that run out of them, and those are digested foods. Now, this was when I talked to the Russians. Let's see how digestive system. Now, these are what's happening in Florida and Russia. These are those blue holes dying. Now, these were underneath the tundra and they weren't seen, but they still are the digesters. Now, as the tundra recedes, it's just caving in because the digesters are dying. Methane gas is coming up from the decomposition of the earth, of the life of the earth, is what I'm saying. Now, this may not be, don't panic. I mean, nobody's going to even... All right, actually, I think this was, the Russians contacted me about this because I was saying, I talked to the Russians, I don't know if it was before or after, but these are the digesters, and at this point, there was only like 13 baby craters up there, and they were wondering what was going on up at this peninsula. And I talked to the Russian guy about it, and they, I told him, I said, you're in trouble, there's nothing we're going to do unless we stop burning stuff, and we remove the atmospheric expansion. And that's not what they wanted to hear. Nobody wants to hear what's true. They just want to go along with what they got. Paying attention probably. But certainly you wouldn't panic about this because we don't know. We don't know what's going on there. But there's the ones in Florida are virtually identical to this. Virtually identical. And they're gigantic. And this is happening all over the place. And they're very bizarre formations. Look at these holes here. That is vascular entries into the earth from the See those little balls looking like they're snowballs? Those are actually gases and liquids and blood and so forth that's coming down, seeping through the arterial network. This is biology. Digester or the other way around, I'm not sure, but they're vascular entries. And this exact same structure is seen elsewhere. And I will show you that. This is what got me in trouble when I went to Mars. It's hard to overlook, and if it is true, it's something that needs to be looked at. It may not be anything, it may be something. This is in the Florida sinkholes, and they call them sinkholes, but look at that. That is exactly circular. All right, I've done so much on the sinkholes and all of the anatomical features of Earth, I don't see any reason to get too crazy about showing this. But then I start showing my mud fossils. And up here I'm showing well, let's go back here a little bit. I'm just going to let it play from here and see what we get. But this is the Earth is collapsing because we're taking the fluids out. And I think we've killed the Earth, I got to be honest with you. And I think the Earth was alive until we started fracking and doing all that crazy stuff. Something has to give somewhere. And I believe that's what's going on here. Now, is that killing the Earth? And I have almost absolute unimpeachable evidence the Earth is alive. All right, look at the structures in this, the stripes, the different dark and... All right, I want to show you one thing. This was like a shoulder attachment or a hip or whatever. That was where the bone was. And then you glue into that assembly a little piece of tendon, and then you go off into the muscles. And this was how I all got started into understanding what the Earth is made of. These are my mud fossils. I discovered these years ago. And this is blood. This is literally blood that serviced this tissue. Light stripes and the oxides, the red oxides up in there and everything. Now look at this. This is what got me in trouble. This is the same material, and this is on Mars. And look at what's in that material. You see what's up there, that spacecraft? All right, this is where they just went crazy. Everybody went crazy. The flat earthers, oh, there's no space, there's no Mars, you believe in NASA. And then the academics said, this guy's a flat earther. He's just crazy. He's just a nutcase. So I had to come at both sides, nothing but nonsense from everybody. I had to shut everything down and start over again. So anyway, these are sarcomeres, these muscles, sarcomeres down below, and this is the red blood vessel and the artery that services them. I have the exact same thing of that muscle I showed you a minute ago on here. It is literally identical. Up in, coming right out of here is where the artery comes out of here and services all this red blood. It's eroded away, and it doesn't have the crab legs, but it's basically the same thing. So that is what killed me, is talking about Mars from every side. Now let's see, this it's coming on to where I'm I'm looking into the Russian stuff. Hold on, here we go. So that's the case. All right, you've seen the spacecraft. My statement is that if this hole was tipped sideways and all of this eroded away from that hole, you would still see these vascularization tubes sticking out, and that's what's happened in that crab. All right, this is a little concerning. 20 baby craters just started popping up near the giant craters in Siberia. This is the area in Siberia that's having this issue right. All right, this is an article. All right, see that right after that, the Russians got a hold of me. So that was like 2015, and anyway, this is a dive through a blue hole. Where do you see this? Go by Brianne Kirby. Very, very nicely done. And she is exploring in a dive in a blue hole. And she says, I'd imagine that I was a tiny microbe moving through the gut of some impossibly large and fantastic beast, because she really literally was. And then she goes on to thinking of the specific topology of the blue hole, specific topology of the human gastrointestinal system, the mouth to the anus. Now, I have all of this stuff documented. I have all of this stuff on other videos. I have 9 videos that I'm explaining this. I'm explaining the foliations of the earth, the fabric of the earth. The earth is alive. I had all 9 videos done and up, and they really just basically shut me down. And there's virtually no question about it. So something's got to be looked at. This is a deep blue hole dive by Jonathan Bird. Jonathan Bird's Blue World. Very, very good guy, and excellent on public TV. And here he goes. Listen carefully.
The bottom looks like it's sand, but it's actually a deep layer of silt. While Tim hovers high above the bottom to keep from kicking up silt, I perform a little experiment.
Listen
Down
to this.
on the bottom, I plunge my arm into the
This is what our
silt
mother
up to
is
my
eating.
shoulder, and it's even deeper than that. This is a layer of decomposing leaves and other organic stuff. The decomposition creates hydrogen sulfide, a deadly
Digestive
gas that
juice.
smells like rotting eggs. Hydrogen sulfide, and I can smell it in the water that seeps around the edge of my mask.
We all know that smell. All right, that was actually digesting the stuff that's flowing through this network of a digestive system. It really is a digestive system. This is the final part I'm going to show you
Blue
about.
hole connects through a vast labyrinth of
It's a digestive system. These blue holes flush all of the stuff that runs out from rivers and all of the highlands down, and then it works its way through the digestive system, and then it gets dragged out into the ocean. That is the proper way it's supposed to work. Not working that way anymore. That is a digestive system.
And as we emerge into the open ocean, something looks weird. When the tide goes out, all the water from inside the caves gets sucked out into the ocean, bringing with it silt and hydrogen sulfide from the inland blue holes.
Poop.
It forms clouds near the bottom with a distinct line between the clear ocean water above and the silty hydrogen sulfide layer below.
Check out the mucus
What you're
from
seeing
mucus
here are the
membrane.
decomposing remains of forest vegetation which have passed entirely through the caves and out into the ocean.
It's no more than our digestive system, but basically identical. And that mucus is all over the coral. Sounds like digestive
Everywhere I
system to
find what
me.
look like strands of mucus floating in the water.
Same
It's
stuff
most
in ours.
likely mucus secreted by the coral in response to the caustic hydrogen sulfide.
No, it isn't.
It's stuck on everything, including this gorgonian, which has closed all its polyps to protect itself from the hydrogen sulfide. As the tide carries the toxic water away, the corals will go back to normal. Finally, we head back to the boat. Tim and Mike
That's
hang
Mother
on to
Earth
the
eating.
anchor line.
All right, that's what you just saw. That is a digestive system. Lake Mead, big trouble there. They're going to have water cuts. There's 25 million people get their water out of there, and it's just drying up. All right, I'm going to leave it at this. If we don't stop the expansion of these gases and the scrub that this is creating and the turmoil and the tornadoes and hurricanes and floods and droughts, shifting weather patterns, because we're expanding our gases into this fray of our planet spinning and being ripped through the solar system, circulating the sun. It's a interaction nightmare out here. And the bigger it gets, the worse it gets. And it's from combustion and creating gases from solids. It's not necessarily the carbon, it's the expansion. So we have to bring this down. The only way is from what I showed you, something similar to this, where we can get free energy that's contained and not expanding anything. And you never have to pull over and get gas again if you do this. You never have to pay to heat your house or light your lights. Pump water, build a cabin in the woods and power it with a little lunchbox. That's what we're talking about right here. And in 30 days we would know one way or other, will this work or won't it? And we've spent trillions of dollars in 50 years of failure. I would think to give it 30 days, 90 days, it'll be all over, one way or the other. We'll either have free power or the earth is going to collapse. And don't forget, this is my email, roger@mudfossils.com.